You know, I was thinking, and the more thinking that I do on this subject matter, the more I realize that I haven't thought enough. And with that said, you know, just as with anything else, is when you don't properly think about something and think about it thoroughly and look at it from, you know, different perspective, not just the one that you may have, because obviously that's going to be biased. So when you take any circumstance to hand, you know, to heart, I should say. Let me roll this up. You may not be able to hear me. That one as well. One of the things that I do have to complain about the Volkswagen Passat is that when you have the windows down, it's extremely loud. It's not very, you know, conversation friendly, especially if you have people inside the car. But anyways, with that said, I want to get back to critical thinking and what it means in order for us to have all that, you know, to have that ability. Because, you know, I've always said, you know, and when I say this, I don't mean it, you know, to disrespect anybody or to put anybody down, but when I say that ignorance is a curable disability, I mean ignorance is a disability. I mean, and it's also one of the sad things is it happens to be something that people choose either to be or not to be. You know, hold on a second here. And what I mean about that is that, you know, I've been doing things in the realm of the ADA, not the American Dental Association, but that of the Americans Disabilities Act of 1990. In fact, it's been around several decades. So when I go online and, you know, I start talking about things that people are pondering, you know, and that are, you know, with legitimately. All right. Because let me tell you something. Federal law is not something that, especially even within the realm of the ADA, it is not a simple thing. I mean, it's not black and white in many cases, and sometimes it takes a little bit, you know, of scratching, you know, to get to what's right and what isn't, you know, accurate, you know, so to speak. So with that said, I wanted to just express something that really bothers me. It's been bothering me now for, you know, probably a couple of weeks now. I went and I was part of, you know, just to get to the story exactly. I was part of, I'm a part of several groups on Facebook that have their own pages that are geared towards those that have disabilities. And a lot of times people will ask, you know, questions or have concerns and stuff that they're not going to share on their personal page, on their, you know, page that they use every day, that where their friends and family, and, you know, and all of that are watching. And they're not going to ask certain questions that they're able to ask on these social platforms that are geared for them. You know, now, being that I've been in a wheelchair with a spinal cord injury for 40 years, it'll be coming up 40 years next year. It's 39 in August. That, you know, I've come across a few bridges that a lot of you are going to be crossing or are crossing. They may need a little bit of guidance, you know, and I feel that with the plethora of knowledge that I have within the realm, that I can share this with individuals, and they can better their lives. But to get back to these social groups, you know, one of my issues, you know, for instance, this one, somebody asked, you know, what are the dimensions of a legal parking space in the United States? I took better part of 10 minutes to sit there and explain all the dimensions, different scenarios, to only have not just somebody that's a member there that's just, you know, some troll. This was an administrator of the page, comes on and tells me that I'm wrong. And when somebody tells me that I'm wrong about something that has to do with the ADA, I take that shit to heart, because I've been doing it for 30 years. So I get out, you know, so I asked, I go, where the hell am I wrong? I didn't say it like that. I was extremely political. I mean, totally professional, for the lack of a better word. But I think I passed up the place that I was supposed to go. But anyways, I get on there, and long story short, it was about 28 messages that were left on the string, and 90% of them were of this administrator, which happens to have a disability, of the page, and I conversing back and forth, and her telling me that I'm wrong, and that I shouldn't be posting things if I'm not correct, and yet this woman is using words like disabled, throwing around the ADAG as if she knew it from cover to cover, which is absolutely bullshit, because then she would know that she didn't even have a position to argue. So with that said, I'm getting to the, I'm making my last response, telling her that I wasn't going to entertain her anymore, and etc., and putting this down to where the discussion was closed. She just ended it. In fact, censoring anything else that that I had to say, that was just basically going to put her in the wrong. But I think she realized that she was wrong, and that's why she turned off the commenting on that string. But with that said, that was already 3-4 hours into the discussion, and so anyways, I just left the group, and because I'm not going to be part of some type of someone's page that has a biased agenda. You're either going to be forefront with the shit and be totally accurate, and if you make a mistake, you say you made a mistake. I've been there. I've been wrong. Shit, I can say, hey, you know what? Yeah, you got me. Thank you for pointing that out, and I move on. Okay, and then the other one, which absolutely just makes me livid, is that I get on a page, and I'm doing this verbatim, so just bear with me. I make a comment like I've always had. I'm not a battleship. Unless I'm not disabled, unless I'm on a battleship, a disabled battleship. I'm not handicapped unless you see me racing at I've never been on a horse track, or nor do I play golf. So, or am I a crippled economy? Kind of just throwing, look, these words that are being used, lame and bedbound and crippled. I mean, these are words from like the 60s and 70s. I mean, these are words from the past. I mean, we as a people, our language has to evolve. So that's my only, I guess, agenda. It is when I'm trying to teach people, look, this is not correct. Not just by me. I don't make the rules. I mean, you can look at the guidelines, and you can look at the federal ADAG, the Americans Disabilities Guide, and it even discusses words that should be suggested, that to describe a person that has a disability as a person with a disability, because I have a disability. Okay, I'm not disabled, I'm not crippled, I'm not bound. I'm none of these things. So I try to educate, right? So with that said, I make a comment on someone that uses the word disabled. She goes, the woman says, I'm a disabled woman. I said, no, you're a woman with a disability. And, and I may have followed it with, ignorance, curable disability or something like that. And she got all butthurt, right? So all of a sudden, I see a post of one of the admins saying some things that are really friggin', demeaning to my knowledge when it comes to this realm, and things that I actually will put 5, 10, 15 minutes down to write and make sure that I'm writing it correctly, to be told that no, I'm not correct, and as far as being that that I'm being an ableist. I swear to God, okay, this has happened, and I was gonna write a big old story on this little blog about false advocates and how people are just fucking ignorant, and they choose to be, because here they have an opportunity to learn, but they're not. They're rather take the route of, no, I need to be the popular one, and I need to be correct, even if they're wrong. All right. So long story short, in this condescending message that was left by this administrator about not, about using the word disabled and when it's proper and when it's not proper, and in the context that is being used, this guy writes me a 15 sentence, a short paragraph, long-winded, and used the word disabled. He went out of his way to make sure that he used the word disabled at every opportunity that he had. Okay? Just to, I guess, try to prove a point or something that he could say what he wants on his page. And you know what? And I was threatened to be silenced if I continued. I said, you know what? I'll save you the fucking trouble. I will leave this fucking page. I don't want any part of any group or anyone that is going to have their own agenda and feel that they need to be right, even when they're wrong. Fuck that. But anyways, you guys know who you are, all right? And hey, let me tell you, there's some good group pages out there. There are some good ones, okay? And Mr. Clint Cook knows which ones I'm talking about. But anyways, with that said, I'm here at my destination. I just had to get that off my shoulder, off my chest, whatever you want to say. But with that said, peace, love, happiness, and remember, you're not crippled, you're not wheelchair bound, you have a disability, all right? And if you happen to have disabilities, plural, meaning more than one, then you're a person with disabilities. Shit. Don't make up new shit. This transabled community thing, that's another thing that's pissing me off, all right? And also people changing their sex or their identity and stuff in order to compete on professional platforms. That really bothers me. Oh. And but with that said, I got to go. All right, bye.